Welcome to a restaurant called Tofuya Ukai in downtown Tokyo. What we got here is a traditional Japanese restaurant that's jam-packed with all kinds of authentic delicacies. It's a pretty nice place to jam large quantities of food down your throats, and personally, I think it's pretty nice. So sit back and relax because the show is about to begin. So I was cruising around the mean streets of downtown Tokyo, taking in that buck-wild Tokyo Tower scenery. Now, it was a pretty clear day, and that tower was looking mighty fine, but truth be told, I wanted something to eat. Lucky for me, there was a famous restaurant nearby, little thing I like to call Tofuya Ukai. Word around the campfire is this place has some top-notch Japanese food, and I was getting pretty excited to try it out. After all, when a restaurant has a water wheel outside the joint, you know they have the mark of quality. And this place didn't just have a water wheel, it had a freaking carp pond. Man, oh man, they ain't messing around. Playtime is over, baby. Case in point, check this out. This place has a damn tofu toastin' shack. Shit's getting crazy around here. I mean, do you see this tofu? They got it jammed inside some authentic baskets. And over there, they got a maestro toasting it up to kingdom come, baby. And as you can see, that maestro is rocking some serious blowtorch skills right there. Then after he finishes toasting it up, that maestro gives it to the maestrette, and she delivers that bad boy to a table near you. Anyway, you get the drill. All that tofu toasting action was getting me pretty hungry, so I boosted on inside that restaurant. And as you can see, this place was looking pretty Japanesey. Now, I don't exactly know how, and I sure as hell don't exactly know why. But something about that buck-wild decor filled my heart with an inner sense of peace and an inner sense of motherfucking joy. I mean, hey, it's kinda hard not to achieve inner solace when you're checking out a sick-ass, authentic-to-the-max lobster shrine. Anyway, enough with all that, I'm getting a tad sidetracked over here, so I met up with my G and we got ourselves a table. First on deck, we ordered up some beers, and personally, I think they're looking classy to the max. Then after that, the first plate of our multi-course meal came out. Apparently, what we got here is a fish meat and scallop dumpling. And to be perfectly honest, I started salivating like a wild man the mere second I saw that fish dumpling. I mean, not only was it glistening with ooey gooey goodness, but it also had a wad of seaweed on the side. So I cut off a piece of that fish dumpling and I took myself a big ass bite. Then I feverishly started chewing down on that fish dumpling and my brain started registering the flavor, and oh man. It was soft as hell with some top-notch fish flavor. Got some hints of that scallop in there as well. I'm telling you, baby, they ain't messing around in this place. That right there is a nice fucking fish meat dumpling. So next up, they brought out some of that toasted tofu I showed you from that shack earlier. Apparently it's deep fried, then they put some sweet miso sauce on there, and then they toast it to kingdom come. Looks like they got some tamagoyaki there as well. Anyway, as you can see, they got them some shredded spring onions on the side. So I dumped a wad of those puppies on there. So I picked up that tofu and it was feeling pretty firm, yet surprisingly light. Then I bit into that thing and oh my fucking dogs. That thing was tasting super crispy yet delicate beyond belief. It almost tasted like bread, but with that tangy sweet miso sauce on the top, coupled with the freshness of those spring onion shavings, and we had something altogether different over here. It was pretty buck wild, to say the least, and overall, I loved it to bits. Next, I went on to try out that tamagoyaki, and it was looking like some choice quality eggy wig to me. Then after looking at it for a New York nanosecond, I jammed it in the general direction of my face. And holy shit. That tamagoyaki was tasting softer than I could ever imagine an eggy wig tasting. It was slightly salty and slightly sweet, and truth be fucking told, it was good enough to eat. Next up, we got us a new plate. Dare I say, a well-presented plate. I mean, just look at this thing. It looks like they got some plum blossoms on this plate. That's some soul-soothing shit right there, so let's see what kind of food they got on this plate. Supposedly this thing is supposed to be some crab with a yam. Then we got some wheat gluten with sesame dressing on top. Last we got some turnip sushi with some rape blossoms and some beans on the side. So I figured I'd dig into that crab first, and whoa, that surrounding liquid is a tad gelatinous. Nevertheless, I powered forward full fucking speed, took one look at that crab, then jammed it down the hatch. And I gotta say, it was tasting soft and succulent, but I wasn't too into that whole gelatinous liquid thing. Overall, the flavor of that crab was pretty subtle, and it wasn't exactly my style. Now before continuing to chow down, we got us this buck wild bamboo sake vessel. It was a pretty nice intermission for our feeding frenzy, and it was also a pretty nice way to imbibe some booze. It gave the sake a slight reedy flavor, but otherwise I loved it to bits, baby. So I moved on to the next exciting dish, a little thing I like to call wheat gluten. I guess a lot of people in the West tried to avoid gluten, but here in Japan it's a delicacy, baby. And holy mother of dogs, the exact moment that I bit into that gluten, I could see why it was a delicacy here. This thing was cooked up and was crispy on the outside and oh so soft on the inside. Add to that sweet sesame sauce, and man, oh man, I think I want to start myself a gluten-only diet. Anyway, next up I moved on to that turnip sushi, but it was kinda hard to get off that plate. Seemed like the damn thing was welded on there. What the hell is this, amateur hour? Nevertheless, I did eventually get that turnip sushi off, then I looked at it, admired it, and jammed it into my mouth. And I gotta say, overall it didn't really have much flavor, and it wasn't really worth writing home about. Next up we had the rape blossoms, aka Nanohana, and I gotta say, this one I like quite a bit. I actually eat these puppies on a regular basis. They taste bitter and they taste like they got some phytonutrient action, but hey, what do I know? Last up, I bit into that bean and it was tasting kinda sweet. Overall, nice fucking bean right there. And after that, they came out with the next plate, which was some grilled Spanish mackerel complete with a potato wedge. Now generally speaking, I think the presentation for these plates has been pretty good, but this one? Kinda looks to me like it's a dick with wings. Anyway, I dug into that potato and took myself a bite, and it kinda tasted like some special potato of sorts. It tasted like some taro or something, I don't know exactly. And then after that, I started savagely digging into that fish. I grabbed myself a piece of that fish flesh and chomped on down. And overall, it was tasting grilled to perfection with a buttery finish. And next up, it was time for some shrimp tempura action. You pretty much can't go wrong with tempura, that's what I always say, and what we got here is not only the shrimp, but also the shrimp's legs. So I squeezed up that lime, and I gotta say I was pleasantly surprised there was no seed action. And then I got me that shrimp, got pretty excited at the mere sight of it, and bit the whole thing down. Still had that tail left, but I bit down on that thing too. You gotta eat every part of the buffalo, sweet cheeks. Now I never did see me a shrimp leg tempura before, usually they throw that part into the garbage. Nevertheless, I figured I'd give it a try, and as soon as I bit down on that crispy leg action, I gotta say I was quite impressed. And the last up, it was time for some dessert action. Here we got some sweet tofu with a strawberry and some red bean paste. I got myself a spoonful of that mofo, looked at it for but a moment, then bit down, and wow. It was soft and sweet with a subtle sophistication. I gotta admit, my animal instinct was to have some ice cream on top, but I guess this fits with the whole traditional theme. Overall, it was the dessert I deserved, but not the one I needed. Oh, and by the way, if you want to see some more oishii foods in Japan, then feel fucking free to check out some of my other videos. I got a video about a 20-piece sushi feast, and I've got a video about grilled eel, just to name a few. I've got those links in the description box. And as always, thanks for watching this video.